Now for a
Draper,
look at the
come on,
local
we're going to be
Monticello
late if you
scene.
don't hurry up.
And on a more somber note, Jason Reinhardt, a man regarded as one of the most creative and innovative Hollywood directors for the past 2 decades, died suddenly last night. Reinhardt was in Monticello directing the Owen Madison production of Mansion of the Damned. WMON anchor person Nicole Drake was on the set of the film last night, preparing a feature on the filming of the movie when the tragedy struck. She filed this report.
This is Nicole Drake in Glenboro, on the soundstage where Mansion of the Damned, the first feature-length film to be shot in Monticello, is being shot. Twice before, movie companies have attempted to film this screenplay, and both times production has been halted for unexplained reasons. But if the Hollywood rumor of a jinx or a curse on this picture needed more support, it received it this afternoon. Tragedy struck during the rehearsal of a scene between the film's star, Nola Patterson, and young actress Paige Madison. An arc lamp hung high on a grid above the set crashed suddenly to the floor, missing both actresses by inches. The falling lamp caused no direct casualties, but there was a fatality. The film's director, Jason Reinhardt, winner of 3 Academy Awards, collapsed and died when the incident occurred, apparently of a heart attack.
I can't believe it. I really cannot believe it. I knew something was going to happen. I knew something horrible was going to happen.
Another premonition?
No, Draper, not a premonition, but I was there. I saw the studio. And I'll tell you, I am honestly beginning to believe that there is a curse on that movie.
Oh, come on. I still say that whatever you saw in that studio was a figment of your overworked imagination.
Draper, and I still tell you that I am not sure what it was I saw.
Well, it couldn't have been a witch. There's only one in Monticello, and she lives... Well, I think I'm going to have my second cup of coffee at the office.
I think that's a good idea, because if you try to explain yourself out of that one, we're both going to be very...
Look, I'm sorry. It was just a bad analogy. It's just that when Margo came over last night and mentioned that trip to Europe, I thought for sure you were going to jump at the opportunity.
Draper Scott, if you thought that for 1 minute I would seriously consider Margo's offer, then obviously you don't know me very well.
But you've always wanted to travel abroad.
Well, I will. With you. And our baby.
Yeah, but you may have to wait a while for that trip.
Look, Draper, Europe is not going anywhere, and all those old buildings will just be that much older. That's all.
It's just that I always feel like I'm in the middle of a contest with Margo.
Draper, I do not want to leave you ever again. Do you understand that? Not even for a day, if I can help it. Now, if you're ready, we'll go to work, okay?
Poor Owen. Jason Reinhardt's death couldn't have come at a worse time.
I'm sure Mr. Reinhardt wasn't very happy about it either.
I'm sure he wasn't. Do they know what the exact cause was?
Miles will be the first to know. He's doing the autopsy.
Ooh. Well, have they notified his family, at least?
I don't know. From what I heard, there are going to be quite a few phones ringing in L.A. Mr. Reinhardt left behind 5 ex-wives.
5? Oh, dear. That was enough to put a strain on the poor man's heart, not to mention his checkbook.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's just a shame to lose such a talented man.
Well, we all suffer losses. We just have to pick ourselves up and get back to the game of life.
Is that what you were doing here at the crack of dawn this morning?
Well, it doesn't take very long to gulp down a cup of coffee. And I didn't have anyone particular to have conversation with.
Margo, this must be a very difficult time for you. If there's anything I can do to help, will you just ask?
As a matter of fact, now that you mention it, you could do a little arm twisting for me.
What?
Well, you have a quality that I lack, it seems. A certain sincere persuasiveness.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
Well, maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, but I would like you to use that persuasiveness on Draper and April.
To what end?
Well, I was over at their place, and it occurred to me that would be the perfect opportunity for April to go on a little vacation.
Mm-hmm. Well, But is that practical now? I mean, is it okay for Draper to just pick up and leave his clients on such short notice?
I didn't say that. It's just that April had suggested that I go to Europe, maybe for a month, and I merely offered to take her with me.
Oh, I see.
Oh, it'd be the perfect time for her to travel, Nicole, before her pregnancy made it impossible.
Well, I gather that your suggestion met with a little opposition?
Bullseye. No sooner had I made the suggestion than Draper started looking those daggers at me that he keeps in his eyes. Honestly, I think if looks could kill, Mr. Reinhardt wouldn't be the only fatality last night.
Margo, did you really think that Draper was going to be happy about the idea of being separated from his wife for a month?
No, not Draper. Draper is so selfish. He only thinks of himself. He never thinks of what might be good for April or what she might want or need.
Listen, I don't know if this is my place to get involved in this, Margo, but you and April are very dear to me. And in all honesty, I don't think that your idea about this vacation is a very wise one.
Really?
Well, come on. This is the first time in April's marriage since this rocky experience that things have been going well. And to suggest now with a child coming, Margo, I think that they need to be together.
Okay. So, once again, I am a majority of one. Funny. Nobody ever seems to think about my feelings.
Cause of death? Myocardial infarction.
Heart attack, right?
That's it. I did the autopsy. I found fresh infarct plus a lot of scar tissue.
No, you did say that he'd had a history of heart trouble, didn't you?
I called his doctor in L.A. He told me that Mr. Reinhardt had had 2 previous heart attacks. One of them was within the past 2 years.
And with all this, Reinhardt still remained very active.
Yeah, his doctor tried to put him on a program of diet and exercise, but he didn't take to that advice.
Sounds like a case of a director who didn't take direction very well.
Doc, did you find any unusual things with his death at all?
No, I'm afraid not, Steve. There's no evidence of any foreign substance in his bloodstream or any of the tissues that might have caused a heart attack. I'm afraid just natural causes.
Well, thanks for helping us out with this one, Miles. You know, I would appreciate it if you'd put your report in the form of a release. I know I need it to get it ready for the press. I mean, Reinhardt was a fairly well-known personality, and they'll want that information for their obituaries.
Well, no matter what you tell them, people are going to say somebody's going to come up with the idea that the cause of death was this curse from the mansion of the dam.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the first one to jump on that bandwagon wasn't the press agent for the film, Eddie Vaughn.
Well, he's got enough material. The strange lights out of the studio at nighttime, Deputy Birdwell seeing ghosts, April for that matter, and now lights falling from the scenery.
Yeah, not to mention Trent Archer quitting the production because
Calvin.
he thought Hester had her evil eye on her.
Trent Archer was suffering from is a very simple and very human case of hypoglycemia. He just didn't want to believe the truth, that's all.
I wish the other events were that easily explained.
I'm sure they are.
Well, Calvin and I don't believe in curses. We're just having a little difficulty coming up with some answers.
Well, you know what the curse is here. It's the curse of human nature, overactive imaginations. You know, you take all these small little facts and you blow them up into a big crisis.
Oh, come on, Doc. Now, you really think all we're dealing with is a lot of people letting their imaginations get the best of them?
I tell you what, Calvin, I'm sure that what my sister saw, that ghost, and what the guard saw was just, it was there because they expected it to be there.
Well, power of suggestion.
Right. And as for the technical mishaps, I'm sure they're not uncommon on any movie set.
Probably.
That's right. Madison did say he's having difficulty finding experienced stagehands in Monticello. Maybe the lights were hung improperly.
And Mr. Vaughn has fed this town so much hype about a curse. Now, any simple little thing goes wrong and everybody all of a sudden assumes it's due to the powers of evil.
I wish we could find some information about what's happening with Deborah.
Why? What's the problem there?
Well, she came home the other night, a couple of nights ago, and she found her apartment ransacked. Nothing was taken.
I still think it's that kid Benny who she's been hassling about dealing drugs. He's just trying to find a way to get back at her.
Yeah, well,
that's
now
all.
she's getting weird phone calls.
So why isn't it possible that it's that same little punk just changing his tactics to try and shake her up?
Well, okay, how come every time she answers the phone, she hears music? Medieval type music. That's not like Benny.
That's true. It's not exactly what you'd expect from a delinquent who belongs to the disco generation, is
Wait
it?
a minute. Bell just rung up here.
What?
Well, Nicole was telling me she had seen some of the sets they were building for that movie, and apparently the main one is the interior of this big Gothic-type mansion.
Ah, yes, the haunted house of old Hester Atherton.
Yes, well, medieval music would fit right into that atmosphere, wouldn't it?
Yes. It's an interesting connection.
Well, I don't get this, Steve. I mean, Deborah is not involved in this movie, is she?
No, not with the movie.
Yes, Betty. Oh, really? No, I'm sure I can make time to see him. Okay, that'll be fine. Gentlemen, the party is over.
Sounds like his fiance's here.
Oh, that's right. Steve told me you and Star were getting married. Congratulations.
Well, thank you,
That's
except
nice.
my visitor is not exactly that pretty. It happens to be the police commissioner.
Uh-oh, what'd you do now?
Actually, I don't know. You think he could be coming by to give me a medal for the great job I've been doing?
I'd like to see that. You can show me some other day.
Listen, Calvin, the report will be in the forensics file, all right, if you need it. I don't think you will.
Okay, thanks, Doc.
Come on, Doc, out this way. I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Hey.
Yeah. Oh, don't clean up. He'll think you've been doing nothing. Come in.
Hello, Calvin.
Well, Commissioner, how are you?
How's that leg?
Oh, it's getting much better, much better. I'm still on the cane, but I think I'll dump that in a day or two. Let me see.
Sounds as if you're almost ready to go back to active duty. How's that suit you?
Well, look, if you're trying to find out if I've fallen in love with this desk, the answer is no.
Well, you've handled it pretty well, you know.
Well, thanks. You know, I might even consider going into administration at some point in the future, when the bad guys start running faster than I do. But I hoped I'd made it clear to Chief Marceau, Commissioner, that for now I really want to work where the action is.
Yes, I know you felt that way. You know, the only reason Bill stuck you behind that desk was because he knew you'd go crazy sitting around the house all day. And he knew you'd do a good job here.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Of course, you'll have to pass the physical before we let you back on the street.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Only, when's that gonna happen?
Week or two, if you're up to it.
Oh, then the chief's coming back to active duty.
The chief will be behind this desk bright and early Monday morning.
Well, now, he, didn't take a very long vacation, did he?
Calvin, this office has always been occupied by Monticello's chief of police, and for many years, that's been Bill Marceau. But as of next week, someone else will have their name on the door.
Come on, it's some kind of a joke.
In some ways, I wish it was. Now, before Bill left on vacation, he notified me that he would be exercising his 30-year retirement option.
I see.
Your initial reaction was the same as mine. I never thought I'd see anyone but Bill heading up this department.
So why was this, made such a big secret?
Well, you know how Bill is. He's a low-key sort of guy, you know. He knew that if he made an official announcement, there'd be ceremonies, parties, that sort of thing. He wanted to walk away with as little fanfare as possible.
So that means we have a new chief of police. Wow. What's this guy like?
Well, his name is Derek Mallory. He's young, bright. I guess you might say he's from the new school of law enforcement. He's extensive education in police sciences and a master's degree in criminology.
Oh, I don't know. All that book learning doesn't always help when you're out on the streets.
Well, he's paid his dues there, too. No, he's worked his way up. He's pounded a beat from the graveyard shift on the docks of Seattle to the deputy police chief's office in Denver. That's where he's coming from.
Well, wish him good luck.
Well, he has a lot of innovative ideas. Some people might say maybe too innovative, but I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah. Can't wait to meet him then.
Well, you'll get your chance next week. But keep it under wraps until then, Calvin. Okay?
Yes.
Hey, partner, welcome back.
Well, good morning, Draper.
Good morning. That's a nice hot coffee for you here.
Oh, thank
There you
you. If I had known I was going to get the red carpet treatment every time I left on a trip, I'd leave more often.
Get everything accomplished.
As a matter of fact, the Palmer case is well on its way to being settled.
Hey, the trip was a success then.
It was, in more ways than one.
What happened? Don't tell me you picked up some new clients on the plane coming back.
No, but while I was in New York, I stopped by the offices of Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside.
Yeah, they do have nice offices, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what'd you want to do? See what it would have been like if you had taken the job? They did want you, Mike.
They also expressed interest in you.
Not for very long.
Draper, I had a chat with one of their partners, David Hansen.
You mean he exists?
Oh, yes, he exists, all right.
When I was in New York, all I heard was this talk about the elusive Mr. Hansen. I never did get to see him, though.
Well, as it turned out, he was in the hospital while you were there for that series of interviews.
Well, somebody should have told him what Will Rogers said about never meeting a man he didn't like. He never met me, Mike. Yet he didn't like me well enough to offer me the job.
And that always bothered me. The fact that he was willing to veto your appointment without so much as a personal interview.
It bothered you. Mike, I still don't know why they turned me down.
Well, that's why I invited Hansen to have dinner with me, to see if he'd be willing to discuss that matter. Now, I hope you don't mind my doing this without telling you about it beforehand, but I had no idea how Hansen might react to my overture, and I didn't want to get your hopes up.
Look, Mike, I appreciate the fact that you think that much of me, of my career, to go to all that trouble, but it's
Draper,
very painful.
you're a fine lawyer, and I think Seward Paxton missed the boat by not hiring you, although their loss was my gain. At least I wanted the opportunity to tell them what a big mistake they made.
Well, was he willing to discuss it? Did he give you any idea why he felt so negatively about me?
Well, in all fairness to Mr. Hansen, I think his decision was based on misinformation.
And just where did he get this misinformation?
Apparently from unreliable sources.
Oh, Mike, you've got to tell me. I've got to know. It's very important to me.
What should be more important to you, Draper, is the fact that Hansen happens to be a reasonable man. My evaluation of your abilities seems to have negated his previous impression. At the moment, he's got an open mind. In fact, he's willing to see you now.
April, how would you feel about doing an ongoing news feature on the 6 o'clock news?
Well, I guess that would all depend on how long it would take, huh? I have a funny feeling I'll be doing shorter and shorter stories as I get bigger and bigger.
No, you'd have to stay with this story until you give birth. You see, I was thinking of doing a story on your pregnancy.
Margo, look, this pregnancy might be special to a couple of people, but I wouldn't exactly consider it newsworthy.
Darling, look. I would do it as an informational piece, a public service. You could tell the people exactly what steps you were taking to ensure a healthy pregnancy, and it would be very valuable to mothers and to-be and the orphans. Huh?
Well, I have to admit it sounds interesting.
Oh, yes, Ginny. Oh, yeah, she is. Hold on just a second. It's for you.
Oh, hello.
Honey, I just had some terrific news, and I couldn't wait to tell you about it.
Well, I'm listening.
Well, Mike just got back from New York, and he had dinner with the elusive Mr. Hansen about why he turned me down for the job. He found out.
Well, what is it?
Well, he said it was based on some misinformation, but the important thing is, honey, he's willing to see me again.
Well, Draper, that's terrific, but I mean, what's the point? I'm sure the job is taken.
No, that is the point. The job is still open. Do you believe that?
No, I don't.
We may make it to New York yet.
New York.
Yeah, look, I've got to get going. I just wanted to tell you this right now. We'll talk more about it tonight.
Okay, fine. I'll see you later. Bye. Wow.
Darling, what's this all about?
Well, my car was in New York for a couple of days, and he had saw Mr. Hansen, you know, that lawyer who was so vehement about not hiring Draper.
Yes, you told me that he flatly refused to give Draper the job.
Yeah, well, obviously he must have changed his mind.
That's impossible.
Well, it appears as though he's agreed to see Draper.
David gave me his word.
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Margo, I know you know Hansen. He used to be your lawyer in New York. You told me that.
Yeah, he used to be my lawyer in New York. When
Draper was rejected for this job, You told me that you were sorry that you had not talked to Hansen and put in a good word for Draper.
Well, I thought I should just stay out of it.
You did talk to him, didn't you?
Look, that job was never right for Draper.
Margo, what did you mean exactly when you said Hansen gave you his word? Did you mean that he promised not to see Draper?
He couldn't see Draper.
Or do you
He was in the
mean that he promised that he would make sure that Draper would not get that job? Margo, I know how you felt about Draper taking that job and our moving to New York.
Why wouldn't I be upset about my daughter moving 1,000 miles away from God?
Oh my God, Margo, you did it, didn't you? I mean, I can ask Hansen. Draper is going to see him. But I don't have to. I already know. You did it. You were the one who made sure Draper didn't get that job in New York.